What would I do if I had to do my PhD over again? This is a really important question that I think all of us think about as we go into the career. And the truth is, I don't know. I don't think that there is a way to actually do this if we understood what we were actually doing. Now, you have to remember what research is. Research is the fact that you're making stuff up and you're trying to figure this thing out. If we knew what it was, we wouldn't know what that particular thing is. So, and we wouldn't have to do any sort of research on this thing. So the issue is that we are figuring these things out. So now, would I go to a different institution? Would I try to work with different people? Honestly, I don't know, because you're in a position where you're trying to figure this out all the way through. And you might navigate towards different areas and think about different things. But here's the thing, the way that the structure of the university system actually works, and as research actually works, is that there's a smattering of people all over the world that are doing different things. And these different things are pretty unique. So even if you went into a particular area, so my field of research, I do learning from failure, and I look at it from a perspective of organizations. I also look at stuff in innovation. I'm the only person that really does that. Now, there's a few other people that do this kind of stuff in different areas, but it's pretty small. And that's the goal, right? Is you want to narrow it down to find things that are pretty small. So if you want to go into a particular area, it's not about the particular institution that you go to, although that matters. That definitely does help out in terms of the institution that you go to, in terms of getting different ways that it's not necessarily that you're at more of the cutting edge. I think that there's some degree of that goes on, but it's the fact that other people recognize you in a different way. They see you in a completely different way. There's status effects that you get, and those status effects are pretty persistent for a long time from the institution that you get. So that you go to. So that really matters. But in general, there's not a lot that I would do differently, because I was figuring that stuff out. Just the way that if you were to do this as well, you're figuring this stuff out. And there's not really a good answer in terms of what you should do. Now, even if you did everything perfectly, you went to the right institution, you worked with the right people, you're still gonna figure it out as you go. You're gonna be like, I didn't realize this. This is something that I wasn't interested in the first place, and then I discover this particular thing. Everybody goes through that. And the reason is that we just don't know. We can't forecast the future. There's nothing that we can do about that. And research is incredibly uncertain. So, as me, would I've stayed in my engineering and did research in engineering? Now, there's something that I would have done. And because of that, I think that it's interesting. And that is because in engineering, it's more acceptable to go into industry and to go back and forth between industry and academia. That's pretty acceptable. And so I am always curious about what goes on in industry and how to do that. Now, in academia, on my side, in the sort of business environment and doing social sciences, there's a big stigma of going into industry and working with industry. And I don't know, but I know what the historic reason is. I'm not going to get into that, but the idea there is I would like to open this up a lot more, and I would love for other people to be more open to that. And so we can move back and forth, just that it gives more opportunity for many more people to do great things that are out there. So would I do anything differently? Probably not, because it is a learning journey. And as we're learning, we're figuring things out, and we're navigating towards the things that we're supposed to be doing independently anyways. So if I would have done, perhaps I would have done something like, went in and did corporate finance, or worked on Wall Street from doing some sort of finance degree or something like that, a doctorate degree in, maybe I went to Stanford and did a PhD in finance. The problem is I'm never going to know that thing. And when I went into that, if I would have went into that, I probably would have been interested in innovation anyways. And so I would have pursued that particular domain anyways. I would have just had a completely different angle. So I just end up learning about the things that I'm inherently interested in anyways. So I read this stuff in these different areas. So I read stuff about the finance of innovation and the finance of entrepreneurship, for example. So it doesn't necessarily mean anything in terms of thinking about where you're going to go. It's really a personal journey, and you are discovering this as you're going of what you are interested in yourself. And as you navigate towards this, remember, it's your personal journey. You can't get any sort of information from other people in terms of what you should do and all of that kind of stuff. You have to discover this and think about this as you go through it and understand what it actually means to do research in your particular area. There's no way that I can give you insight on this. You have to figure it out on your own. And so I guess the one thing that I would do differently is I would contemplate and think about what is it that I'm really interested in, and why do I actually want to do this a little bit more, and spend more time thinking up front what it is that I'm truly interested in. But we don't know what that is until you actually start taking a deeper dive into it and really thinking about it. So initially, I was interested in international entrepreneurship. And this is sort of this field of doing global business as a small company or as a new company. And as I got into it, I realized, well, there's this other phenomenon about uncertainty. And then I started thinking about uncertainty. And then I started thinking about, well, wait a minute, maybe it's a learning or a decision-making problem. And so now I'm really interested in learning and decision-making of how to navigate these particular issues. And, as you're doing this, you kind of figure it out as you go. And so don't get yourself all tied up and thinking about what I should have done and could have done. You can't change that. The reason why that happened is that you were learning along the way and you were discovering this along the way. And there's no clear answer in terms of what you should actually do until you actually do it. It's one of those things, you actually have to do it to figure out what you really want to do. And you have to take a deep dive into it, and then you discover and you figure it out as you're going through this. So with that, give me a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. In case you're wondering, I think that's Coke right there. All right, bye.